Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about something that's really near and dear to my heart. It says Don't Feed the Basement. This is an anti-cheat engine that I have been developing for 2 years now. It was created because of the rising tide of cheaters in online games that are ruining the experience for everyone else. When the game developers are not able to adequately protect their own games from cheaters, it is our duty as a community to step up and help each other out. And this is where Don't Feed the Basement comes in. It has taken me countless hours of work to get to this point. I want to thank all of the Patreons who have helped support me during development. You guys are awesome, and I would not be able to be here if it was not for you. But this video is not about asking for more support. This is purely educational. In today's video, I am going to teach you how to set up and configure Do and Feed the Basement on Windows. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. First thing we need to do is download the client. You can find a link to it in the description down below, and I encourage you to start this project on GitHub. When you get to the GitHub page, you'll notice there's a big button right in the middle that says Releases. We are going to click on that, and then we are going to go ahead and download the latest stable release of the software. Currently, that is version 1.4.4, and this number will change whenever I make an update and push it live to the public. After the download finishes, we're going to extract the zip file, and what you'll end up with is a folder like this. And inside this folder is everything we need to run the software. But before we do that, we also need to download the common base files which are shared between different game integrations. So back on the GitHub page under the Releases section, we've scroll down just a little bit until we find this little tiny link over here. It says Common, and we go ahead and download that as well. We're going to extract that zip file, and then what we were going to do is take this common folder and move it into the main DFTB folder that we extracted earlier. Now that both of those downloads are finished, we can go ahead and open up the DFTB executable. The first time you do this, you may receive a prompt like this. We're going to click More Info, and then we're going to click Run Anyway. The very first time you open the program, it will launch this window here, and this may look intimidating, but don't worry, it's actually pretty simple. The main thing you need to know is that the left side of this window is where you configure settings, and the right side is where you see logs as things are happening. We close this out by clicking the X at the top right, and then we go ahead and minimize this so that we can focus on the game. Now if we try to launch any game, whether it's in big picture mode or not, you'll notice that nothing happens. That's because we haven't told the program what game we're trying to play yet. So we're going to go ahead and maximize this window once again. And then we're going to click Add Game. You'll notice that it says Unable to detect currently running games. So instead we're going to click Add Game Directory, and then we're going to specify where Steam is installed on our computer. Usually this is in C drive, Program Files, Steam App, and then you can close this after you select that folder. Now you can click Refresh List, and it will populate with all of the games that you have installed on your computer. If you don't see a certain game, it's because I don't have an integration written for it yet. But remember, this is open source. You can find the source code on GitHub, and you can help contribute to getting these integrations written. So let us go ahead and select a game. And in this case, select Sea of Thieves. Once that game has been selected, you'll notice that all of these options on the left side have now been populated. The first thing we do is go to Runtime and make sure that this is set to DXGI. There's no real reason to use anything else. Then we go to the Cheat tab, and this is where we can enable cheats if we want. For most games though, you're probably not going to need to use this, and I recommend leaving it disabled. But for some games like Valheim, there are known exploits that you can use to get extra resources. So in this case go ahead and enable the Valheim cheat, and what that does is gives us an infinite amount of resources when we're replaying the game. And now if we launch the game, we should see that the basement is loading properly. It's because the bottom left-hand corner now says basement is active. If it didn't say that, you'd probably see an error here that tells you why it's not working. Now, at this point, we can go ahead and maximize this window once again, and we can go to the Settings tab. I highly recommend reading through all of these options. They're pretty self-explanatory, but I will go ahead and highlight a few that are important. First one is Memory Scanning Interval. This is how often the program scans our process space for new memory addresses. It's important to keep this relatively low. Otherwise, if you're playing a game that spawns objects really quickly, it might miss them. However, if you bump this down to low, it will increase the CPU usage of the program. So it's kind of a balancing act. I'd recommend starting with this value, and if you start experiencing issues, then you can come in here and lower this even further. The next option I want to talk about is undetectable. If you check this box, it will prevent the program from writing memory. This means that you won't be able to use any cheats, but it also means that the program is less likely to be detected by anti-cheats. The last option I want to talk about is log level. This determines how much information is printed to the log. I'd recommend leaving this at warning, but if you're having issues, you can turn this up to debug to get more information. After you've configured all of your settings, you can go ahead and exit out of this program. Then you can launch your game like normal, and you'll still be protected by Do Unfeed the Basement. There's one final thing I want to talk about, and that is the blacklist. Sometimes a certain cheat might get patched by the anti-cheat, so I might add it to the blacklist. I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. If we open up the program while the game is already running, then go to the Game tab, then scroll all the way down to the bottom and click Manage Blacklist. What this does is adds a special configuration to your GameOS profile that prevents a certain cheat from being used. For example, let us say you're replaying Fortnite and there's a speed hack in the game that the developer doesn't know about. They could add that cheat to the blacklist, and that way nobody will be able to use it anymore. But anyways, that is all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, a huge shout out to all of the Patreons who support me. You guys are awesome, and if you want to support me as well, there's a link to my Patreon in the description down below. Anyways, that's all I have. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.